Hey, welcome back to my channel, Authentically Yours, Patricia. If you're new, my channel is Authentically Yours, Patricia, and I'm, of course, Patricia. Welcome. So today I just wanted to touch on 3 key elements of how do we show up authentically to the world. And I have notes here, so I'll be referring to them, so I don't want to forget what I wanted to say. So how do we show up authentically to the world? The first one, I believe, is understanding who we are, right? Jeremiah 1:5a says, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. So we are put here for a purpose, on purpose, very intentional. God knitted us and created us in our mother's womb. So even if our parents say that we were accidents, not in God's eyes, He already purposed for us to be here and placed giftings and talents and skills and abilities and all of these things that were meant for us to share with the world. So if we're not showing up as our true selves and being authentic and the person that we were created to be, whoever that is, whether a musician, a doctor, a pharmacist, a farmer, whatever we were created to be, a mother, right? A dog mom like me. Just had to throw that in there. If we're not operating in the version of ourselves that God intended us to be, then I would dare argue, are we being authentic, right? You could put comments below if you want to debate that, but that's one of the key ingredients, I believe, to showing up in the world as your authentic self. It's understanding who you are and that God created you and put you here for a purpose, on purpose, right? The second thing I believe as a key ingredient to showing up as our authentic selves, excuse my language, is don't play small. Don't play small. What do I mean by that? I'm only 5'1", so to the world I'm small. I've never operated that way. As far as like thinking that my height limited me in doing things. But when I was in first grade, I remember a teacher for no reason at all. It is so vivid in my memory, and I'm going to be 48, like I've always said. And I remember this so clear. This teacher laid me on her lap and spanked the crap out of me for no reason. Till this day, I don't even remember a reason. My parents weren't called. I didn't get reprimanded at home. So till this day, I have no idea why. Why am I bringing that up? Because that same teacher is the one that shortened my name, and people started calling me Patty ever since. And I went by Patty for decades. And I noticed that when I used the name Patty versus when I used the name Patricia, how I operated in the world. When I used the name Patty, I feel like I shrunk down to try to meet people's standards, so to speak, or if people felt uncomfortable around me or intimidated by me, I instead of leveling up, I leveled down for their comfort level. And that's not being authentic. And that's not being true. So I'm in a season in my life, like for the past, 2-3 years, that Patty, that girl's dead. I've just only been going by Patricia. And I have one good friend in my past life, meaning like prior to me only using Patricia, that has never called me Patty, ever. And she always said that name didn't fit me. And so this may seem like something minuscule, but just think about it for your own life. Like, where are you playing small? Where are you playing small because you're afraid of other people's reactions, what they might think of you? You might lose a relationship here or two. They might think, oh, you're too assertive, you're too aggressive, or what other people might feel, but maybe that's more their problem than yours. So think about that. The second thing, like I said, don't play small to show up as your authentic version of yourself. The third thing that I wrote down in my notes, which is going to seem weird, but I believe this is also a key ingredient to showing up as your authentic self in this world, is smiling. It's smiling. That sounds so crazy, but I believe it's true. And I wrote this thing down. I wrote this note. It says, a scowl, right? A scowl is to have a gloomy or a threatening look. And a lot of us walk around the world A lot of people with a scowl on our face. And now I know I used to live in the northeast of USA, and that's typical, to walk around with that mean grill with a scowl. It's like a defense mechanism. You want to show people, yo, you can't play me. You touch me, I could cut you, something like that, right? So I know that in some parts of the world, we have to do that, or we think we have to do that because of, protection. We don't want to come off as soft or as punks or things like that, right? I'm not going to argue that point, but just understand that how does it serve us when we walk around with a gloomy, a threatening look, a mean look all day, every day, right? What opportunities did we miss because of that? Because someone may have wanted to approach us and was like, no, I don't think so. They're not showing up the way that I would need this partnership to show up, or whatever it is, right? Or maybe even a dating relationship. I remember a guy told me this one time. He told me about my continence. This is years ago. He told me if I changed my continence, that I would get dates. That sounds crazy, but it was true. Because I used to walk around with that mean grill, that scowl on my face all the time, right? So the third key ingredient that I dare say to showing up as your authentic self in this world is smiling. It's smiling. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, but you can gain a lot from it. Think about those things. All right. Authentically yours, Patricia. Mwah.